Hi, I'm Kelly Hill Ross, and thanks so much for tuning in to another show. We have an exciting show. It's Black History Month. Several years ago, we had an opportunity to interview Mr. Cyril Byron, who was a Tuskegee Airman, and we talked to him about respect in the younger generation. Jasmine McCullough was our host, who's now Jasmine Parker. We also have Dr. Rachel Heggins, who wrote a book called New Woman. She and several of her other colleagues got together to talk about their life experiences. We also have our real estate segment with Mazette Meredith. So get your cup of coffee, tea, and sit down and relax and enjoy the show.
What steps do we need to take to prepare them for the future?
In high school, I was a pretty good athlete, and I got a scholarship to go to school. The first school that I got a scholarship was in Tuskegee, Alabama.
So how have you seen the level of respect change among young people during your years as an educator?
How have I seen it change? They have less respect than we did in my day because they don't have those things at home. They need to have respect. If you look at that thing, basically respect starts at home. If you don't respect your parents, you're not going to respect your teachers. As a teacher, you had, in order to get the students' attention, let them know you're the teacher. And you're there to teach them. And if you can't teach them, they won't learn. If they don't learn, then you're not teaching. See, it just goes hand in glove. So you have to get the respect in the first place.
Let's take a look at media. Do you feel like television has a role in how people respect each other, or do you just think
but definitely. Because they learn a lot from television. And on television, you don't see a whole lot of respect going on because it's television. They want to show something. And in television, you see men beating up on women and things like that. That's not respecting. You see them hollering at the wives, or the wives fussing with the husbands, and the kids standing watching. The action of it, it makes the kids understand, well, now, if he's doing that or she's doing it, I don't have to, I'm going to do when I get big. Again, loss of respect. Television can also teach it. It can also make them understand that you have to listen to your parents. You have to respect them. And that goes with listening and doing what they say. They copy what they see on television. They think that's real life. It's not. Because on television, it's just something to show. Real life is real life.
Right.
And you got to understand that all those things they see on television, you can't do in real life.
Do you feel that violence is more prevalent among a certain race?
If you look at statistics, yes. They're more prevalent in terms of those that get locked up in the blacks or the non-whites than it is whites. Because if you lock you up for being violent, and we have more of us in jail than them, then yes, it's more violent, but it's not.
You talk about violence among young people. Do you feel like it's increasing?
Violence among young people is increasing. Yes, or you can see it in the school systems. You see it out there in the street. They don't respect each other. There's always somebody going to try to beat somebody else. And violence is a lot of ways you can do violence. You see it on television, you see it in the homes, you see it out in the streets. So therefore, when you get into violence, it's get them to understand that you can't beat up on people because there's always somebody that's going to beat up on you. That's one kind of violence. Then there's verbal violence, calling them names and disrespecting each other. You got to understand that you don't want to have things done to you, so don't do things to others. That's part of trying to get rid of violence. The movies, the television, the things they see in the street are violent. Therefore, they believe that this is the way it's supposed to be. But it's not the way it's supposed to be. In 1941, the President declared war. In 1942, February of 42, I just finished my sophomore year, waiting for my junior year, and I got the draft notice from home. Well, in those days, anytime you got a letter from home, you held it up to the sun, looking for those little rectangular things with the dead presidents on it. This time it wasn't any rectangular boxes with no dead president letter. Greetings. I knew it was coming. I was expecting it. So I went back home. Home was in the Bronx, New York at this time, and was drafted. It was Tuskegee, another town, then went to Ramitelli. In 1944, the 32nd Fighter Group, now that was another all-black, all-African-American unit, came over there. Our commanding officer was Colonel Davis, Captain Davis, Benjamin Davis. I don't know if you remember, but anyway, we had utmost respect for him. He demanded it, commanded, not demanded, commanded it to him. 4 years in the military of the United States of America, and no one spoke to him. He was the first African graduate. No one, and when we saw him on the base, he walked like that, straight all the time. And everyone respected him because that man had, well, guts, as we say. And when he said, do something, you didn't argue, you didn't discuss it, you did it. And that's how the pilots got through all they had to go through. They too ran through discrimination and segregation. But, there were so many of them things they had to do. A lot of them, like the rest of us, did what we had to do and let all that discrimination and stuff go, because you had to prove yourself every time you did something. The first place they sent me with basic training was in Orangeburg, New York, which was just about 60 miles north of New York City, which was fine because the weekends we went back to New York. I went back to the Bronx. We stayed in basic training about 6 months, and I was trained basically as an armorer. After I was assigned to the 99th Pursuit Squadron, I didn't know anything about it. They assigned me there. When they took tests and they asked me where I wanted to go, I wanted to go in artillery because I wanted to go to school in artillery because of my math background. We could study trajectory, bullets. I thought I was going to do that. But the fellow looked at me one day and said, you don't want to go there. Oh, yes, I do. You're not. And okay. Then I realized they didn't have any, as I was find out later, they didn't have any blacks at officer candidate schools for artillery. And being one of blacks, I didn't get it. But after the test, they find out.
How did you, how did that make you feel when you found out that that was the reason why you couldn't?
I was quite angry. And then again, I remembered, don't resent what you can't prevent. It helped me quite a bit. Because, and then I said, now, I didn't know, I should have known better. I really should have, but I didn't.
Hi, today we are interviewing with Lynette Jones, and Jeanette is actually a real estate broker with eXp Realty, and she's also the owner of Rebuild Property Management. So tell me a little bit about your background.
I've been a realtor for about 15 years now. I'm actually an associate broker with eXp Realty. Before I became a realtor, I was also an investor. So I understand the importance of, buying properties for the right price and selling it for the right price. I'm also owner of Rebuild Property Management as well.
Oh, okay, great. That's awesome, because now I see you have both ends of the stick. So when you're out with your clients, you can actually have more of an experience because you've been through the investment part as far as renovating the property, and so you're well-rounded.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
I like
also,
that.
I actually have a construction company as well, Rebuild Development as well.
Oh, wow. You're a phenomenal woman. I love strong, phenomenal women out there doing the thing. So I'm telling you, Lynette, today I've learned so much about the do's and the don'ts of putting your property on the market. I know that, tell me about a client that did not listen to you and what happened.
Whew. I can give you a couple. And the reason I can give you a couple is because sellers, they have a price in mind. They have an emotional attachment to their property, and of course they want to sell their property for X amount of dollars. So for one particular client, because he had to pay off a particular mortgage, he had an emotional attachment to the property, we advised him to list the property at a certain market value based off of the comps. But he wanted to list the property for about $20,000 more.
And what happened?
It caused the property to stay on the market a lot longer than what anticipated. He ultimately had to lower the price and wound up lowering it a little bit lower than what we had suggested, only because he was trying to correct at this point. And so he did ultimately sell, but it was sold for less because it was on the market for a little bit longer. He had to sell at this point, so he was pressed to get the sale done.
And had he priced the property correctly, he would have made more money.
He would have made more money, and it would have sold a lot sooner.
So tell me, when you get certain range, let's say a $250,000 property, do you tend to stage it or not stage it?
Definitely want to stage it.
And why?
Staging just appeals to the buyers. It appeals to their emotional connection to the property, because they go in and it's beautifully staged and they're like, wow, so they can see themselves living in there. They can see how the furniture should lay out. Also, what I tell my investors is because sometimes there's some imperfections in the property. So when you stage it, it hides that. If you don't stage it, then the buyers can sit there and nitpick on little things that they wouldn't have had.
And they will do it, because I've had them do it. So if there's one thing you want to tell the sellers today, what would that be?
The one thing absolutely is to price the property correctly and get it staged. If you want that quick sell, the highest price possible, those two definitely things that they definitely need to do.
Lynette, thank you. Thank you for coming in today. It has been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
The first thing I want to say is I enjoyed reading the book. I really did. And when I got to your part, and I don't know if you have a copy of your book there.
Yes.
Can you go to your page? I think it's page 73. Yes. Miracles in the Dark.
Miracle Eyes.
Miracle Eyes in the Dark. Can you read that for me?
Sure. Miracle Eyes in the Dark by Dr. Rachel Heggins. This girl fell. No lights. Depression. A hole. Scratching. Where's the light? Digging. Clamoring. Falling deeper. It's dark in here. Somebody help me. I can't seem to help myself. Helpless. I can't see me. Invisible. I can't feel my pain. Numb. I can't move forward. Stuck. I can't hear my own self scream. Voiceless. Somebody help me, please. Oh, heck, I'm losing the fight. I can't see my life, it's dark as night. Light put out, such defeat, like a cigarette butt under my feet. No ounce of life to rescue me. If this is my end, it's not my choice. Suicide creeps. Sneak attack, no voice. The voice in me screams from my head, just trying hard to survive before I'm dead. Jesus, please help me.
Wow, that is powerful. That is very powerful. And when I read that, you know, I could relate different situations where I too, and I'm sure many other women, felt hopeless at one time and felt like, oh, you know, where is the light at the end of the tunnel? So what inspired you to write this book or to write your section in Miracle Eyes in the Dark? What inspired you?
So it was a sisterhood effort. It was 8 of us that were chosen by a covenant sister of ours who lives in the Texas area, Dr. Marisha Sherman. And she asked each of us to pick to choose a topic which was pre-chosen by her. There were 8 different topics. You know, in the world, you have like different kinds of lipsticks that are different colors. So in this book, she wanted there to be 8 different topics that would reach 8 different types of women. And so those topics were dream, arise, strength, aspire, miracle, believe, courage, and freedom. And so each of one of us picked that topic that kind of stood out to each of us, you know, individually. And that's how it kind of came to be, and we wrote our own topics. Took us about 3 months to, you know, research and get our information together, gather our thoughts, and come up with something that was catchy, but yet that would inspire people to want to read our section.
So what inspired you with what you just read? What were you thinking as you wrote that?
So my life has been full of miracles. I guess from an early age, I remember when I was about 6 years old, I was watching my dad and my brothers put some coal, we lived in West Virginia, put coal into the basement. And I laid down on the porch, which was about 8 feet tall, laid on my belly, just watching them. And I was etching forward toward the edge of the porch, and I fell over. And when I fell, I hit my head on a steel heater or metal heater. And when I woke up, I was in the hospital, and it looked like they were using a gasoline machine to put something in my head. And it was probably X-ray machine. But as a 5-year-old, it was like scary, you know, like, what are they doing? And the ensuing weeks, I had to stay close to my mother because I kept running into things and reopening the wound. So through that one experience, and I can see it like it was yesterday. That's a miracle that I even came out of that. I mean, I could have cracked my skull open. You know, I could have been, it could have affected the way I think or the way, you know, my brain works, and I could have been a vegetable for the rest of my life. It's a miracle that I'm just able to be here today and talk about the miracle eyes in the dark. And the reason why it's that topic, miracle, the letter I, because there's so many scriptures in the Bible that start with the letter I, and that bring us to miracles like, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And that's one of the scriptures that I used when I was in college and I was going through a deep, dark depression time. That's one of the scriptures that helped me to come out. That was a miracle eye in the dark.
Wow. You also have other books too that you've written. Tell me about them.
Yeah, so there's like 2 other books that one of which was another collaborative book, and that book is called Her Prayers. And that book is written for women all over the world who may be going through anything. In this book, we pray for everybody. I mean, there's all kinds of prayers for women in military, women who are in education, women who are at home taking care of kids, women who are the spouse of a policeman, you know, people that people wouldn't normally think about, women who help pick up the trash. You know, it doesn't matter what they do, they need prayer. And it's for any woman who chooses to believe, because all things are possible if we only believe. The other book that I have briefly is called Emergency. Mm-hmm. And this book is about my life. It's an autobiography. And it actually is written for women who have a story to tell, but are afraid to tell their story, so they can use my story so that they can feel better about telling their own. So this book is kind of like a blueprint for women to come forth and be free from their own story. So they're able to emerge and see what they're able to do.
So tell me a little bit about the other women that you collaborated with in the first book, that New Woman.
So in this book, the women that I collaborated with, oh my God, they were such an awesome group of us. Funny, women that love God, women that were on a mission in their lives, women that, you know, have gone through things, women who have a story to tell, women who had goals and aspirations, but, you know, had some dark places in their lives. And they all picked areas and those a word that stood out to them in order to be able to tell their own story, or at least, you know, some part of their story, so that someone could be, some woman somewhere would be inspired to say, you know what, I'm not my past, I'm really my future. And what I'm in right now, I don't have to be that forever. And so it was such an awesome time just being able to be with them and laugh and cry and testify and, you know, share stories about our past, our present, our future, and talk about the fact that we were all new women.
So, well, how did you all meet? Did you know each other from work or from the church or from?
So we all connected from different states, believe it or not. None of us, I think only 2 of us are in the same state. Myself and one other woman is in Maryland. The rest of us were scattered all over. Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee. Wow. We were everywhere. But that's the beauty of being on Zoom and conference call and hearing people's voices and seeing their faces. We felt like we knew each other. We felt like, you know, we had this bond that God has put us together. And, you know, we were on a mission to make this vision come to life. And that's what it's all about. It's like pulling yourselves together and coming in one spirit and one common bond to make a common goal.
Okay. You also talk a little bit about in your book about your younger years. Tell me a little bit about that.
So in my younger years, I've always been athletic. I've always been a person full of energy. I've always been a people person. I love people. And from a very young age, I learned to play the piano at 2 years old. As a matter of fact, in a revival, a woman laid her hands on me while my mother was sitting on the piano, and I started to play. And I've been playing ever since. So now I play and sing for churches. And, you know, from that time up, as far back as I can remember a time when I was 2 years old and my dad called on me to play a song. And I played, Yes, Jesus Loved Me. I remember it like yesterday. So music is a part of my life. It's a part of my family's life. I grew up in West Virginia, running the hills. And so I think that is part of what, you know, made me love movement and travel and people and just, you know, nature. I love being outside. I used to ride a red bike when I was like 10 years old. I still ride a bike. Okay. I love life. I love to laugh. You know, that's who I am.
Okay. So what do you do now? Well, I know you were a teacher in the past. Were you a teacher?
That's correct. So yes, for the last 30 years, I've devoted my life to being a teacher. I'm a phys ed and health teacher. And I actually retired a couple years ago, and I was bored. I've traveled to Israel and some Costa Rica, some places, and then I was bored. So I went back to work. So now I work in a juvenile detention center with high school young men. And I still teach health and phys ed, and I love what I do. So I don't know how long God will have me doing that, but that's what I love to do right now. And I also am a certified health coach, and I love doing that, helping people to change their lives and become new in their health. So yeah, life is good.
Okay. Do you think authorship is what you're going to be doing as well now, since you've written, what is it, 3 books?
No. I have to say no, because I do love to write, and I do believe that I'm going to write one more book on my own, but it's not a passion of mine. It mainly was a goal, and I pretty much have, fulfilled that goal in my life. Once this next book is out of me, if that's what God says, you never know, it might be another book in there somewhere. But I know that one more book is going to come forward, but I know that's not my passion for life, and that's not where the I will be blessed in my field of favor in that area.
Okay. All right. And I know you've written three books, and are the books for a specific age group?
Actually, no. Any woman, any age group, any nationality, any size, any race, any religion, is for anyone. And as a matter of fact, it probably could help some men with the women in their lives. We write these books of, especially new women, for women to see that they are not their past, that they are not the mistakes that they made, that they are not the darkness that they may be in, that they are not the negative that they may have hanging on their back, or the baggage that they may be carrying, but they are actually can be forward moving women, and can be the future that they see, because God knows the plans that He has for us, and it's a future and a hope. So when women read this book, we want them to see that they have a dream, they can aspire, there's strength for them, they can have courage, and that they can walk in miracles, all those things, and come out in freedom and be the new woman that God has called them to be.
Well, that was my next question. So women will be inspired by these books, and
yeah,
especially by the examples of what all of you are revealing to other women. And then you're saying to them, look, don't let your past define you. You can become a new woman, I guess, and break through that ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about the world today?
So, there are a lot of things that are happening today. This is 2020, 2021. We're in a pandemic. But God is in control. And even in this dark economic turn down time, many people are losing their jobs, their homes, their families are breaking up because people are in close proximity and they don't understand how to nurture and foster relationship. So, but God is still in control. And even in this time, there are people that are prospering. So as a new woman, we have to look at where we want to go, not just where we are and what was, but we need to look at what can be, what is, and what can be, because there are a lot of opportunities before us to become new women, even newer women, even in this economic downturn. So it depends on how we think, how we use our minds, how we use the eyes and ears and listen for opportunities, because there are numerous opportunities that are available for women today. If we just use the gifts and talents we have, do something different we've never done. And, the saying says, to get what you never had, you got to do something you've never done. So this is a time for us to look at what's new and look at what's coming and look at what we can become even in that newness and become that new woman.
Oh, wow. Had you ever thought, I know I didn't mention this to you, but have you ever thought about having some type of focus group for women?
Well, right now I do have a small group of women that I speak with once a month. They are actually seniors, 55 and older. And what I do with them is try to bring them forward to being new women. Because when people become 55 and older, for some reason, we sometimes feel like, I don't want to try nothing new. I don't understand how to get on Zoom. I don't understand how to use these new things on my phone. I don't understand how to do apps, blah, blah, blah. So those are some of the things that I'm teaching these women to do new things. And when you do new things, you have to become a new person because it opens up another whole new part of you. So as I share with them some of the things that I do, I also teach them how to become some of those things if that's their desire. And some of the things they've been wondering about, looking at, toying with, to show them that the path to really securing that and really walking in that is often very, very simple and not something to be afraid of, because God has not given us the spirit of fear, but power and love and a sound mind. If we just open ourselves to some new things, we can become that new woman.
Okay. So if anybody wanted to become a part of your group, is that open to everyone, or is it just a select group of people that you're, meeting with now?
No, actually it's an open group. And they can just, text me, or they can call me 443-540-7268, or they can email me at rachelheggins@gmail.com and just say, I'd like to join that group, or I'd just like to see what it's about. Just let me peek in, let me look in and see what y'all doing, what y'all talking about.
Yes. Okay. And if they, where would we get a copy of your book at?
So copies of the book is available at Amazon. And if they get in touch with me, they would rather do that, I can send a book out. People that have been close geographical areas close to me, I've actually taken the book to them. So just get in touch with me. I'd love to have you have a book.
Yeah, that's how I got mine, and it's autographed. So social media, which means what? Facebook or Twitter? Do you ever use those,
Yes.
to promote your book as well?
Absolutely. So across social media, Facebook, Instagram, pretty much anything, you can get me at Rachel Heggins, or just Rachel Heggins, or my website is rachelheggins.com. So just check me out or leave me a message, and I have a couple of groups that are on Facebook as well. Healthier Finally, for men and women who are trying to get on a health journey and make their lives better, healthier. And I have also a group that's called Empowerment, in Life Empowerment. So it empowers the lives of men and women to help them see where they are in life, understand where they're trying to go, give them some goals, just a place to hang out and just learn about life, So yeah, that's who I am. I'm about the people.
Okay. That's two groups you have. You have one for health, and then one for inspiration. Okay, well, we're going to put all that information up so that if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to be a part of the group, which I know I want to do the health one.
Okay.
I see that with this pandemic, being at home, it seems like you snack more, eat more, and I find myself saying, well, okay, what time am I supposed to eat dinner? I said, well, I think you just had a snack. So I'm trying to watch my weight as well. Well, Rachel, I want to thank you so much. I have enjoyed talking to you about your book and about your other books. And you are really an inspiration. And I want to thank you for giving us the time to interview you about the book and also talk about the other young ladies who are also in the book as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a comment and you'd like to get in touch with us, go to our website, thekellyhillrossshow.com, You can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So until the next time, stay safe and God bless. See ya.